Hey guys, welcome back to Flying in Space with Planet Head. It is March 27th, 2023. A little bit longer video, I think, today than the ones that I've done recently. I've kind of changed over my video plans for the ad hoc videos of doing shorter ones, but this one, there's no way to cut it down other than maybe taking the information and chopping that up, and I thought it might be best to put everything into it for this one. If you saw the title, I'm still trying to figure out the best title for it, but I want to. We had our first fleet up yesterday as a corporation, um, and it was actually a ton of fun. We had 5 guys in the fleet, in our little fleet, our little corporation we've got. We actually had 2 or 3 other guys show up and cheer us on. Um, and I actually FC'd it for the first time. It was the first time I ever FC'd a fleet. Um, if you don't know what FC is, most of you do. It's fleet commanding. I have not been in a fleet in probably 8 years. I did get together once or twice with 1 or 2 other people for like a half hour or so over the last year, but nothing special. Um, I think earlier last week I got together with one of my corp mates and scouted in front of him as a fleet while he was hauling some stuff out to our new home. Um, but other than that, I haven't done any fleeting up in a very long time. Um, if you notice the screen here, I am mining. I know that's painful to hear, but I have my super duper powered uh, venture here that I'm just throwing on the side because I want to get more ore so I can build more ships so that I can get blown up in more ships that I fly in fleets. And no, I am not going to put many skills at all into mining. This is just something I can do on the side whenever I'm reading something. So this is the max of the mining that I will be doing. Um, that said, uh, I sat down today. We fleeted up last night, and I'll give you guys a play-by-play of what we did and how we did it. Just a overall top end. But as we were doing the fleet, I started having flashbacks of,
The asteroid is depleted.
oh, fine, an asteroid is depleted. Whatever. We may have to keep an eye out for that. Let's go ahead and get these other 2 on here, and we'll circle that one, and we'll put our mining thingy here, and our mining thing here. More, more titanium and pyrite I can get, the better. Um, long story short, we were able to fleet up, fly around a good deal. We went over to faction warfare space, and then left there, and we're on our way home. Ran into a gate camp and got the shnikes kicked out of us, which is exactly what we were all planning on because all of our characters are alphas, less than 30 days. It was more of a lot of practice. Um, and while I was leading the fleet, literally this was the first time I ever led a fleet of more than like 3 people. And again, I haven't done anything like that in over like 8 years. I was starting to have flashbacks of back whenever I was in a few fleets back in the day, and I started remembering a few things. But by the end of it, I was thinking about the things that I want to learn to get better. And you know me, I like to take stabs at things in the dark first and then go searching out answers and new things. So I've got a list of things and um, that I learned and things that I need to learn a lot more of. All of these I need to learn a lot more of. And then another list of other things. So I'm going to try to go through these really quickly. Let's go ahead and snip that list there. New. There we go. So it's easy to see. And there's my snipper. And as I'm pulling these up, um, I will go through them as a visual here too, but I just want to show you here. I kind of made a little list here. So a couple things, and these aren't in any particular order. They were just kind of the things that were flashing at me while things were going on. The first thing that we did was we kind of looked at what ships we had. One major thing is I am going to be flying a Thorax, most likely for the near future in these fleets, because I decided for a couple reasons. It's got a lot of different options. Number two, it's Galintian origin, and I'm kind of doing that this time. Number three, it's not a frigate. It's a cruiser. It takes a little bit of time to fit out. It takes a little bit of IS to make. You have some investment there, and I've got to learn to be fine with that. If I'm ever going to fly bigger and better ships, I got to be fine with losing not just frigates and destroyers that are worth like 3 or 4 million ISK. I've got to be willing to put my money where my mouth is. And now these won't be super expensive, but I'll slowly work my way up there. So I was flying a cruiser. There were 4 other people in the fleet. I think we had one Catalyst, a Merlin, a Tristan, and we had an armor repper. I can't think of the name of it right now. Really a complete kitchen sink fleet. That's what we're going to do every Sunday. Bring what you got, and we're going to go out and shoot at something. Other times, as we get better at this, ooh, we got some NPCs rolling in. As we get, I would like to keep the Sunday a kitchen sink fleet. You know, bring whatever you got, and we'll find a reason for you to be there. And then maybe at other times we'll get together some fleet doctrines and stuff like that. But right now it's all about getting participation, getting people riled up to go do something. In general, kitchen sink fleets are not good. I'll be very honest with that. It's all about the camaraderie. You might think, ooh, well, it's like the X-Men. Everybody has their own special thing. Well, not really. In reality, a kitchen sink fleet is very tough to figure out where everybody's at. The simplest example would be we had 3 ships that were close brawly ships. We had another ship that was medium range and another ship that was an armor repairing drone ship. And all of those had to be figured out as far as damage wise and who was going to attack first and that sort of thing. Whereas if you have a fleet doctrine, you know exactly what you're doing and how you're doing it. As far as fun wise, it's great because anybody can do whatever they want to bring in. And you're not feeling held down to something. So, like I said, we're going to be doing the Sunday fleet ups for quite a while. And even if I'm not there, somebody else should be able to run it. But that said, my list. So the first thing, and I wrote down 5 things here and then some other things there. The first one was scouting. Let's make sure I'm not going to die here. Sister's Serpentis Safeguard. I've got armor repair on this ship, so I'm not too worried. Where'd he go? There he is. Hey, drones, would you please kill him? Okay, he's almost dead. Armor repair it, and we're good. Okay. Sorry about that. So, let me pull up Dotland, and I'll show you what we did to start off with. We started off in Placid. And actually, I'm going to go not by the list order, but what I was kind of remembering as things go along. Now, a lot of you guys, if you're FCers that are out there, you're going to be laughing at this because a lot of things were just kind of jumping at me at the time. But we started off in Placid here. Nice thing about Placid, if you got some faction warfare over here, you got some regular low sec here. If you want to, you can fly down to NPC null sec here, regular null sec NPC up here. We ended up starting off, and I actually had not flown a fleet in a while. So as we were flying, me and one other person started up while everybody else was. We got there a little bit early, and I started talking. What was it there? We were just flying around practicing warping to a gate and not warping to a gate. And my first hint would be, and this is something that flashed at me, there might be faster ways of doing this. But whenever I was calling out, okay, we're going to be aligning to a gate and then warping to a gate, and I would say, let's give you an example here, this Alperot gate right there. I would say, okay, we're going, and let's say we were in Ostengall, and we were on our way over here to Paine. This is one spot where we ended up at while we were practicing just flying. I was trying to say Alpero, but I couldn't pronounce it correctly. And then it dawned on me that whenever I used to be in fleets, the fleet commanders used to not call out the actual name of the system. Now, there's probably different ways of doing this, but they would call out the first three letters. So they would say, instead of Alpero, they would say align to ALP, align to STA for Stackman, align to Haral. So that's the first hint. If you're ever trying to call out to warp to someplace, you're going to align to it first. Then you're going to give a couple of seconds, and then you're going to do a fleet warp to the gate that's there. So that was the first one. While we were trying to fly around, I was trying to remember, and that was my first epiphany that I had. You know what? This video might be more than one, because there's a lot of stuff here. I'm sorry. So, the second part with that was, probably I'll try to do a video with everyone, with somebody else, to show fleeting up. Maybe there's some good fleeting up videos that are out there. But the second problem we ran into was, it was kind of funny. My cruiser actually aligned faster than the frigate that was flying along with me, because he was hugely armor tanked. And so I actually learned that aligning, I had to do a 1, 2, 3 count before I hit the squad warp, or we didn't warp together. So that was another one. As we were in warp going into the gate, you want to call out either hold on the gate, so that would be number 3 here. You want to hold on the gate. I just want to make sure I'm not cool. Or you want to say jump on contact. Okay. So normally you want to hold on the gate. Everybody warps in, they land at the gate, and then you tell everybody to jump. They jump through the gate, and then you look around. So me and my other friend, my other corp mate, we flew all the way up to Paine. And as we're coming into Paine here, and we were figuring out how to warp as a squad, some of the other guys started coming online. And they were like, hey, where do you want to meet up? And that sort of thing. And as a fleet commander, you're trying to remember different things and watch different things, even though there was only one other guy in there, and you're trying to talk in chats and stuff like that. A lot of stuff, a lot of practice that I got to work on to get better at. But some of them had to go pick up a ship. So we said, hey, there's a free port over here in Ostengall. Let's meet up there. So as we were flying up through, and we got to Paine here, we turned around and came back out. And once we got to Ostengall, the other 3 guys showed up. We all met at that free port sitting outside of it, trying to kind of get an idea of where we wanted to go and what did we want to do. Some of the guys had actually done some faction warfare in the last week or two. Now, we're all alphas. All of us were created actually almost exactly a month ago. It was on February 26th or later. All these characters were created, so less than a month old. We were trying to figure out, do we want to go down here to NPC nullsec? Do we want to go out to faction warfare space? Do we want to go find some gate hunting? Because this corporation is 100% built on doing some gate camp busting. And we decided, since some of the guys had tried it out before, we would go up to faction warfare space. So this kind of goes with one of the um, things that I have on my list here is know the fleet and have a plan. So if you're ever going to FC something, know the fleet. Now, this is going to sound weird, but I knew the fleet. I knew it was unknowable. It was a, a kitchen sink fleet. And then have a plan. I didn't have a plan. What I should have done is said, hey, before everybody got there, take 30 minutes and kind of look around and see where death and destruction was happening. But we got together, and really this was more practice. So I was able to do the first part here because it was simple, because I couldn't have a know the fleet. But the second part was I did not have a plan. So that's something that I need to work on, okay? So when everybody meets up and they ask, what are we doing? Have a plan. Say, we're going to go down to NPC nullsec and we're going to look for a fight. We're going to go do some belt ratting, you know. We're going to go do some cosmic signature ratting. We're going to go into wormholes. Whatever you want to do. Have a plan for what you want to do beforehand. We ended up going up to Hadleys, which was... Actually, just do a search here. There it is. It's in Essence. Here it is, right here. So we actually flew up to Hadleys, right here. And I'm trying to think the way we actually came in from Aboon. We came in from Aboon. So pretty sure we came in from Aboon. Had to be. So we came in through to Hadleys, and we actually did a faction warfare. On the way there, we docked up, and everybody joined faction warfare. And then we went and we sat in a Plex for 15 minutes. Nobody ended up coming in to try to fight us. And then from there, that was about an hour in, because we'd done some flying around, practicing. Everybody had not fleeted up in a while. And one of the guys gave me some really great advice. And he actually held my nose to my own poop. Because I am a trainer in my own job, in my real life job. And when we all got together, and I had not FC'd ever, I asked, does anybody here want to FC? Anybody want to try this out? I don't feel real comfortable doing it just yet. And he said, well, why don't you just do it? And he pointed out, he knows me, and he said, you're a trainer. What do you do whenever people say they can't do something? You get them to go do it. And he was 100% correct. So we did fly up to Hadleys. Now, some things on my list here. Oh, and then once we got done with Hadleys and we did that, we took a little bit of a break. Everybody, we docked up real quick. We then flew out of there and headed back in a different direction. We went down through IND. I'm going to use this IND, and then MUR, and then got back and went through to Orville. So now here's the thing. So we came in through Messbeer, in through Orville, and ended up coming to this spot right here. Now, this entire way that we had been going was number one on my list. This is so funny. This entire way, one of our guys in a scout, and it's maybe one of the first things, I put it here as number one. We designated him as the scout. He was in a fast tackle, really cheap ship, and he would jump a gate ahead of us to see what was there. But the funny part is that when we got to Messbeer and then to Orville, we hit high sec, and he actually stopped, and we were waiting for everybody to catch up. And then we literally all knew that this is a major gate camp area right here. And we decided, let's just jump in. We could have very easily sent our scout in, and he would have been blown up. Oops. Uh-oh. I think I'm out of ore. Yes, I am. Okay. Let's go ahead and dock up here. Let's go ahead and... So, long story short, can't believe I'm mining. Okay, then we're going to dock up. I'm not going to bother with that here.
Warp drive active.
So, we ended up jumping through Olay, and I want to say, I have to look at the stats. I haven't even bothered to look at it yet. Um, my we ran into a gate camp. We stayed on, all of us in cloak, for about 45 seconds while we were talking about what we wanted to do. We very easily, some of us could have crashed gate back. There were about 5 or 6 guys there, all in much better ships than we have. They
Docking
obviously
permission
knew what they were
requested.
doing.
Docking request
Um,
accepted.
and we just said, screw it, let's go get blown up. And I decloaked, and when I decloaked, I instantaneously turned on my armor rep on my cruiser. Now, this isn't the best cruise in the world. I had not fitted it out with any rigs. It was just something I was flying around. I'll definitely work on things in the future. But I put my armor repair on right when I decloaked, and I was at the same time I was trying to close the distance between. We had decided on one guy we were going to try to shoot at, and by the time my armor repair got all the way around to its first cycle, I was already dead. Because they all targeted me and went after me, and then they killed the rest of the guys. We all got away in our pods, and that was cool. But that's exactly what we were trying to do. Was just we got a lot of practice. Everybody had a lot of fun. We ended up going home. Now, do you want to get blown up in 5 seconds every time you go out? No. But I think everybody had a lot of fun. And let's just look at the list here of different things. And probably I should do a much better video than this. But really, I'm just kind of like on the high of the thing. So what I'll end up doing this week is working on building a better ship. And actually analyzing the fleet that blew us up. At some point, I'll start recording our fleet fights because I think that would be kind of cool to be able to look back on the fleet fight and see what mistakes were made, stuff like that. Wasn't able to do that last night. But I am actually going to be trying to get a better internet connection within the next week. So maybe even by tomorrow. So I might be able to do better with that. But better ship, have a better plan. And then the other things that are here. So I already talked about scouting, calling out gates with the first 3 letters, holding on the gate or jump on contact, know the fleet and have a plan. The last one here was a watch list. If you've never been in a fleet, you want to create a watch list so you can keep an eye on everybody else that's there that's important to you, especially if you have Logi. The other things, so these are the 5 things that I thought of right off the bat, but then I took another 10 seconds and thought of a bunch more, and I know I'm going to think of even more. So this could be the beginning of a beautiful thing of making videos. Because you've got insurance, you've got broadcasting for reps, you've got tasking out jobs. I'll talk about that here in a quick second. Practicing flying, just knowing how to get from point A to point B as a group. Setting up hotkeys. One thing I noticed was once or twice I've been flying alone for so long, rather than squad warping, I would automatically hit regular warp and leave my squad behind me. So I've got to work on hotkeys, and my thinking was if I could figure out a way to set up the hotkeys so that it only focuses on the squad warping, and then have the drop downs as personal stuff, might be a good way to get my brain not to mess around with the two. If I can't do that, then I'll just have to do this more and more often. Setting up save spots, all sorts of other stuff that would be very helpful. So the one thing that I really thought of while we were doing it was tasking out jobs. You're going to have your scout in front of you. You're obviously going to have your logi that's doing some stuff. There are other things that people can do. You could be like, you could basically say, put somebody in charge of scouting the people that are in local. You know, have one guy who looks up anybody who's at criminal status to see who might be a good that you might run into. You could have another guy who looks up anybody who's in faction warfare against you. You know, have those guys being, and you can just call on them and say, okay, how about faction, and looking for targets or people to fight, so that the FC himself doesn't have to cover all of that. He can just cover getting guys from point A to point B. Now that is full tilt long term, but so many things that you can do with this, and what can turn, and I'll say this over and over again, it's why I do these videos, it turns it from being spreadsheets and space and point and click and shoot to an actual strategic game. And I really think this could have been a lot. It's just an overview. That's all this video is. I have not had the time to look to see if there's any good FC videos out there. That's going to be my research. I need to... then at some point, there are plenty of public fleets that are out there that you can join to learn from. I was having flashbacks of being parts of fleets from 8 years ago. I'm sure things have changed. You can join some public fleets and just listen to how things are run. People are going to run things in different ways. Other things is maybe University has some stuff. Maybe there's some YouTube videos on how to run some things. Mine is all going to be about research over the next couple days. And then my buddy Finian, who called me out about trying to get out of FCing, he was 100% correct. You have to do it to get better at something. So I'm kind of jazzed to fail. I want to fail a lot so I can get better at FCing. I'm going to try to make myself available this week. Maybe go out with one or two people every so often. I also have to have a real life, and also have to be able to make some ships and stuff like that so I can get blown up in those. So that's all I've been doing this morning. And I'm replacing my back porch, so I'm doing that and hanging out with the dog. But totally jazzed, totally had fun. I know I've done some shorter videos lately. I might go back to the short videos and do, there's so many different aspects of FCing that I'm going to be learning. And if I find something that gets other people jazzed in doing it, I might do like little 5-minute videos of having a scout. You know, what type of ship should he fly? Or calling out gates, 3 letters, flying from gate to gate. I don't know. It's all about availability and stuff like that. But so glad I had last night. So glad for my court mates for joining in. We'll probably be getting together at least next Sunday, if not before then. But I might have some big news tomorrow. I'm having to make a decision on something within Eve as far as the corporation and my accounts. I've talked to some of the court mates about that. And I'm waiting for just a little bit, but I might have a big announcement there tomorrow. So if not, it'll probably be later on in the week. But other than that, fly safe, fly dangerously, fly hard like you want, guys, and I will talk to you soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.